GCSE and A-level exams have been cancelled in the Middle East, and I expected this to come as did almost everyone else, because the situation in the Middle East right now is not the best, including the situation with Iran, Israel, America, and other Middle Eastern countries. It's not really the best right now, and everyone expected these exams to get cancelled because they kept postponing online learning. So let's talk about it. There's 4 countries that have currently been affected with this cancellation of exams, including UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Lebanon. As far as I'm aware, and I did my research before this, Qatar is not involved in this. They've not cancelled exams for Qatar just about yet. They have put in contingency plans in case something happens with Qatar as well, but for now, the exams are going to go ahead as scheduled in Qatar. Now, the major exam boards that are involved in this are obviously all the big ones: Pearson Edexcel, Cambridge International, Oxford AQA, including IGCSE, AS level, and A level itself. So basically, year 11 to year 13, all exams have been cancelled. Now, I never thought I would say this, but we're in sort of a similar situation with COVID-19, because now it's going to all depend on different stuff. So we're going to talk about how they're going to give you your grade. But before that, I just want to say that, exams will not be rescheduled. Like, before, I remember with the Pakistan-India war, they did extend the exams, or they did reschedule the exams to like the other sessions. So for example, you didn't have to give them in May, June. They shifted it to October, November. But this is not the case over here. It's completely cancelled, and they've not been rescheduled. Schools are currently waiting for the final grading instructions. I mean, they don't know how they're going to exactly give you your grade yet, but what they have guaranteed you in the official statement is that students will receive valid, recognized grades for university progression. So that means, like, no matter what happens, the grade that you get, whether that's from your predicted grade, whether that's from all the assignments and everything that you did, is going to be valid for you to apply to university with. It's not just going to be, some sort of fake grade. Now, the main part of this video, which is how students will be graded, which all of you want to know. Like, how are you going to get your grade? Like, you've been studying all year round, you've been, working really hard, and you knew that you were going to do good in that exam. Let's say maths, you knew you were going to get like an A star or a high UMS. What's going to happen? Well, there are a different couple of scenarios, and let's go through all of them. Number one, and the most likely one, is the evidence-based grading method. So this is probably what's going to happen. So students will be graded using your mock exams, your coursework, internal assessments, so like your midterms and all of that stuff, class tests, and your teacher predictions. All of them will be combined and then probably into a system which will give out your output grade. And based on that, you're going to receive your grade, similar to what happened back in COVID-19 or during COVID, where you were basically given your predicted grades as your final grade. Number 2 is your portfolio submission. So what this means is that your school is going to create a portfolio of evidence for every single student. And what they're going to do is, for example, if your school uses Pearson Edexcel as their examination board for maths, they're going to send your maths stuff, your maths portfolio, to this Pearson Edexcel, and basically from there, the Pearson Edexcel people at Pearson Edexcel would decide what grade you're supposed to be based on your test performances, based on your classwork, based on your homeworks, based on all the different things that you've been doing. Now, another one is number 3 is extra assessments, which I don't really think will happen, because the problem with the extra assessments comes when they could take it in school, sure, but schools have also been extended further for online learning. So I was from Dubai, right? And my family and my brothers are still there. Their online learning has been extended to 17th of April. And so in that case, if your exams are like in May, and then it just doesn't make sense for students to go into school, risk everything, and give an exam. And the problem I see with doing it online is obviously everyone can cheat and just get a good grade. So I don't really think people are going to take extra assessments, but it all depends on your school and what the exam board decides. Now, number 4 is a non-exam route like the IB system does. So for IB, it's already confirmed that they're going to look at everything that you've done over the course of the year, and based on that, they're going to give you your grade. I think GCSEs and A-levels could follow the same system, purely because, they're not going to go ahead and carry out an extra exam. I don't think that's likely. And the second thing is, a lot of people did mess up their predicted grades or their mocks. People don't take mocks seriously. And this is why you should take your mocks seriously, because anything can happen at any time, making your mocks your actual predicted grade. But based on that, I would say it's very likely that GCSEs and A-levels take your entire work that you've done over the course of 8 months that you've done before, and follow a similar model in deciding what grade you get based on your assignments and all of that stuff. So yeah, those are the 4 scenarios that I see happening. Now let's talk about other stuff. So the question is, will your grades remain same? Will you be graded fairly? Will your grades be inflated? Will they downgrade it? what will happen? Honestly, in these situations, and we've seen this from COVID as well, your grades are probably going to be inflated, which is probably a good thing for you guys. So if you were about to get a B or if you were about to get a C, there's a chance that you might end up getting an A because grade inflation as well. You know, you can't. There's no possible way for them to test your exact preparation without any exams. So they're gonna have to go off based on everything else. You might be lucky. You might call yourself lucky. I mean, it's a war. I wouldn't necessarily call yourself lucky over here, but I know a lot of people celebrating it that, oh, let's go, we're not gonna have exams anymore. But it is what it is. The risk is with the people whose mocks were weak. You're at a big disadvantage, and the reason I say this is because there's a high chance schools and exam boards take your mock results as your predicted grade. Your predicted grades from your mock results as your mean grade. So if you were a person who's like, you know, it's just mocks, I shouldn't take them seriously, nothing's gonna happen, nothing's, you know, these are not my real exams, you might be at a slight disadvantage. And the reason I say this is if they take your mock results on your predicted grade from your mock results as your original grade, you're kind of screwed. Because what if you performed bad on your mocks thinking, oh, I'll do well in the real exam, and there is no real exam? Kind of messed up situation here. But if your coursework in general was strong, if you did your assignments, homework, all of that was strong, you're still fine, but it is a bit disadvantage for the people who didn't do well in their mocks. But again, I don't know, because some schools, certain schools, might know that their students don't take mocks seriously, and they might keep a makeup test or something like that for you guys. Again, it really depends on your school and what the exam board reveals in the next couple of days. Now, I want to talk about some impact on you guys, like some pros and cons of this happening. The pros are obviously you don't have a high pressure exam. Like I remember the days before my exams, I was stressing bad. You guys are not going to have that. Exams have been cancelled. Safer environment, like you get what I mean. And grades are based on long-term performance, how I think they should be regardless. Exactly how university works is you have midterms, you have assignments, you have different stuff that makes up your entire grade. You're not relying on one final exam to basically make or break your stuff. Like you can very much pass the course without even doing your final exam. That's how it should be in GCSEs and A-levels, but again, I know it's not. But because of this, you're going to have a long-term performance-based grade. Now, the cons are obviously less control. Like if you were doing bad in your mocks and everything, your coursework isn't up to date, you won't have that comeback feeling, because I know everyone says academic comeback, oh, I'm going to do well in my final exams. But when you have no final exams, what are you going to do? Another con is that you're reliant on school data. You don't know what your school data is, or most likely you don't know. So it's all up to your school. They can either screw you or they can either do you good. So it's all up to them as well. And another con is obviously anxiety about fairness, because you might still be thinking, what if I was studying so hard? What if I don't end up getting the A that I wanted, or I don't end up getting the A star that I wanted? Like it's genuinely all luck or faith. If you've been doing good, if you stayed consistent and you got good grades, you should be fine. But if you messed up a couple of your exams and stuff, might be looking a bit tough for you. And again, I want to mention this won't, if like you're in year 13 and you've just done your A-levels, your university applications are going to be completely fine. You don't have to worry about them. The grades that you're going to get from whatever exam board you were doing are going to be official. They're going to be recognized internationally, similar to how it was in COVID. Like even though people gave predicted grades and they still ended up getting in top universities. So you shouldn't worry about that. Now, the final part of this video, I want to talk about what could happen next. So basically predictions for the future. I've written on a couple of things. I think if you get a grade that you're unhappy with, it's highly possible that you get an option to basically resit your exams. What I mean by that is, let's say you were hoping to get an A and you ended up getting a C for some reason, right? They might give you the option to instead scrap that grade and retake the exam in October or November or something like that. Like, you know, another exam session. That's very possible. Another one is appeal systems will likely open, which means that if you're not satisfied with your grade, you will be able to appeal it with a reason and say that I don't want this grade. I feel like I've been unfairly judged, etc., etc. It is possible. I'm not sure. There's no guarantees on it, obviously. I'm just saying what my predictions are. It is possible, so keep an eye out for that as well. And yeah, that's about it. I don't really see anything else happening. Exams have been cancelled fully. They're not coming back. So if you were like, if this was your last year of A levels or your AS levels, congratulations. I don't know. I've seen a lot of people happy, but again, it is what it is. If you're someone who worked really hard or works really hard for your exams and you weren't able to, let's say, basically, what I'm trying to say is that you worked really hard for your final exams, just for them to be cancelled like this, it kind of does suck, and I get your point. But if you stay consistent and you got good results in your mock, you honestly should be fine. And yeah, that's it. Exams have been cancelled. Imagine this was me last year, but it's not, unfortunately, no. And yeah, that is it for today's video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. Check out 2 of these videos and subscribe to the channel down below. And yeah, I'll see you with another video. Congratulations on your exams being cancelled. Bye bye.